Back to you, Steve.
We shall. Edward, thank you very much. President Trump says he doesn't need China's help on Iran.
Do you think we need to intervene at all with Iran?
I don't think it does.
Help in any way?
No, I don't think we need any help with Iran. We'll win it one way or the other. We'll win it peacefully or otherwise. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, every single element of their war machine is gone. They've killed a lot of people. They've killed 42,000 people at least over the last month and a half. We win. No matter how you cut it.
All right, KT McFarland joins us now. KT, we don't need China's help with Iran. Do you agree with that?
I think absolutely. You know, China needs this war to be over a lot more quickly than we need it to be over. Why? It's because they're so dependent on Middle East oil. Something like, it's not just Iranian oil that's not getting to China. It's Iran and Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Iraqi oil. None of that's getting through to China. And that represents about half of their imported oil and roughly 15–20% of their total energy needs. So China needs that, because otherwise China's industry and manufacturing and agricultural business, and particularly its high-tech AI business, they all need a lot of energy, and China's not getting it.
I just need to know more about the style of negotiating on the two sides, because you negotiated with the Chinese at the Mar-a-Lago summit many years ago. What is their negotiating style? Is it radically different from Trump? I'm sure it is.
It's completely different. Here's what happens is that, and I've been, negotiating with the Chinese going back to the Nixon administration. The Chinese like everything really orderly. They have meetings before the presidential trip. They have meetings before the presidential trip. They want everything already agreed to in advance. They want to write out the press releases in advance. They want everything already done, so that by the time the two presidents meet, they have a handshake, they toast each other, they sign on the dotted line. The Chinese think and rethink again every aspect of every deal. President Trump is just the opposite. I mean, I would sit down with the Chinese leaders and they bring out their 5-inch binder notebooks and start going through the list and want me to respond of what President Trump would agree to. And I said, hey, look, President Trump believes in meeting the chief guy first, the head, the president first, the CEO to CEO. He'll take a measure of the man, he'll cut the deal, and then it's up to people like us to follow afterwards. So for the Chinese, they just can't scramble fast enough to keep up with a Donald Trump. That's his secret sauce. That's the great strategic advantage he has in negotiating with them. He's likely to go in and say, okay, let's cut a deal on this. We've got the stuff we've already agreed to on the trade relations, but what about this? What about this for Taiwan? What about this for Iran? And then the Chinese are going to have to scramble, stay up all night, scramble to try to figure out what the response is. It puts Trump in the driver's seat of every negotiation with the Chinese.
This is fascinating. Let me digress a second. The last time you were on the show, you sat next to me right here in New York, and you suggested that in a couple of weeks, I think your expression was in 2 weeks, the Straits would be open. Do you remember saying that? And are you sticking to it?
Yeah. Yeah, the Straits were open. President Trump opened it. He opened the Strait, Project Freedom, and now he's, everything's been put on hold. And I think it's been put on hold because of the Chinese visit. When President Trump comes back, I think then he resumes whatever it's going to be. It's pretty clear from what the president said just yesterday that he's not going to expect any kind of negotiations from Iran, so he's going to have to resume military operations. So military operations against the remaining 25% of their military targets. But I think he also opens the Strait. Because we've got control of the Strait now. Yeah,
but the ships are not passing through freely because they're scared of insurance costs and getting attacked. But I think there's one more piece of information to add to this. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia were both fighting inside Iran, using their air force inside Iran during Epic Fury. We didn't know that, but it adds to the forces at our availability to really go after Iran, right?
Yeah, and if President Trump does resume military action, it won't be called Epic Fury, by the way. One of the reasons President Trump wanted that ceasefire was because he wants to reset the clock. There's something called the War Powers Act, which says after 60 days, Congress has to approve what the president does. It's probably not constitutional, but in any event, President Trump doesn't want to take the chance. So he can say, Operation Epic Fury, that's done, we're finished. We've had a ceasefire, and if there's a new military operation starting next week, they'll call it something else. So President Trump will say, this is not a continuation, this is just a reset, a new military operation. And this time around, we have twice the firepower we did before. And we now know that we have the UAE and others in the Gulf Arab countries working with us against Iran.
KT McFarland, always a pleasure, always informative. Thank you very much indeed, Kate. See you again soon. Sure.
Thank you.